It's time for the main event. It's the Shoeshine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702. Coming back at you for the Shoeshine Special Edition Tuesday, Taco Tuesday Lunch Edition. Saludos to everybody joining me out there in YouTube Landia. Coming to you straight from the city of Sin City, Las Vegas, that just hosted WrestleMania 41. Where's all my peoples at, man? Don't be shy. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Come in, it's lunchtime, guys. What's cracking? I want to thank everybody that tuned in last night for my first ever sleep stream. And I think I caught a lot of you guys by surprise. Dave from the Shoeshine was so thirsty for views that that he decided to televise himself sleeping. Come on, y'all. You guys know I was in the doghouse. I had one of those pesto pizzas from Trader Joe's, guys. It's full of garlic, and was in the doghouse. No, truly, to be honest with you guys, for all those that are wondering why I did a sleep stream, come on now, I'm not gonna let all these other Vegas streamers have all the fun and televise themselves sleeping and getting watch hours. Surprisingly, I checked this morning the statistics, guys. I was looking at the numbers. And, shout out to SBS, Sleeping Beauty. Surprisingly, and I might want to thank Derek Ware for this. A long time ago, Derek Ware said that, vertical streaming was such bullshit that he could probably stick the camera in the corner and just literally, he wanted to see an experiment to see if you could actually get watch hours and views. And I know that a lot of people have successfully done so. So there it is, guys. Cashing in on the watch hours. Honestly, it's satire too, guys. There's a little bit of satire. I got a little bit of an issue with a certain Vegas streamer out there. And, shit, I can poke some fun at it too. I could do some satire, guys. Yes, it was a 3-minute video loop. I made the video shortly before, and I added the sound effects, and I had fun. And to be honest, I'm shocked that it got as many views as it did. I'm not saying it got a lot of views, but shout out to everybody joining us. Darius, Frostbite, Big Spooky, SB. Hit that like, that's for sure, guys. I appreciate. Nando, good to see you in the chat. Did you guys have a good WrestleMania weekend? I, for one, I'm going to admit, it's like Santa Claus. I stopped enjoying it many, many years ago. I'm just not a big wrestling fan, but I can appreciate the theater in wrestling. And I can appreciate how people are fans of it, whether or not I agree that I should be watching it as a grown man. Hey, it was a tremendous success for the city of Las Vegas, where I live now. Economically, it was a huge success. You could see, the city was elated. We had Fremont Street was cracking. You had 4 days of wrestling. In fact, I went to, on Thursday, I was at the Palms Casino finally trying the all-you-can-eat lobster buffet. My wife's beautiful family. My father-in-law was in town with his wife all the way from upstate Nevada, where they live now. And we finally went to the Palms to try that lobster buffet. You have to make a reservation, guys. I made a video. I shot some film, so I just got to get down to editing. How many lobster tails did your boy Dave eat last Thursday? Well, as I'm passing by the buffet, there's a huge line of crowd at the Palms Theater. It's the Pearl Theater. And I had to ask, because it looked like a bunch of wrestling fans. And I said, hey, what's going on? What's cracking? Who's here right now on Thursday? And they said, Butterbean is hosting a wrestling event. Butterbean, the guy that I mean, you guys remember 90s Butterbean boxer? Apparently he was having a wrestling show while I was eating the buffet. Thanks a lot, Mom Food. I appreciate you. By the way, guys, Mom Food did an incredible Easter Saturday night stream. Mom Food, I am so sorry I did not get to catch it live, but the whole thing was amazing. That was amazing makeup that you did as the Easter Bunny, and I was cracking up with the whole carrot in your mouth as the bunny. That shit was hysterical. So anyways, guys, WrestleMania, a tremendous success. The only thing I was hearing from people on the strip locally was that, you know, people talk a lot at the casinos, locals that work here, and they said that they were disappointed about how cheap WrestleMania fans were, that they're absolutely lousy tippers. But I have to just think, I have to put myself in these people's shoes, because I was, for once upon a time, I didn't live in Las Vegas. I would come here for major boxing events, sporting events. And I'm going to tell you a time I spent $5,000 to see Canelo Alvarez get his ass kicked by Julio Cesar Chavez. And boy, did that turn out to be the complete opposite, right? I'm going to talk to you guys about when I was not a Canelo Alvarez fan and I spent $5,000. Now, if I was a family of 4, husband, wife, and 2 kids coming to WrestleMania 41, I don't know how you could afford to tip anything. Literally, I don't know how you could afford to tip anything after the cost of attending WrestleMania, in-person tickets, hotel, travel expenses. I mean, it's the sign of the times, guys. The economy is spiraling. I don't want to be a downer, but we know what's going to happen in the rest of this year. And I don't know, for one, how anybody could afford it. So yeah, it sucks not to get tipped well, guys. But at the same time, everything is so freaking expensive, obviously. Quick shot of what Allegiant Stadium looked like. Home of the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, guys. 61,000 plus people. This is what a full house looks like. And WrestleMania, or WWE, is owned by TKO Holdings, right? TKO also owns Dana White's UFC. They own the UFC now. This is what a full house looks like. Besides, did you guys see how many famous boxers were here at WrestleMania 41, including Terrence Bud Crawford? And the dream and hope is that, as you guys could see, this may be the first time I've ever seen a ring of any type, boxing ring. This is a wrestling ring, but this is what a boxing event would look like if we had the ability to draw 61,000 boxing fans, which I don't know if we could do it. Canelo Alvarez did it in Texas years back against BJ Saunders in Texas in a football stadium. A beautiful Cinco de Mayo event. One of my favorite Cinco de Mayo events ever. Salute to Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Salute to the Fight Doctor. Appreciate you guys being in here on a lunchtime streams, Taco Tuesday. Anyway, 61,000 hardcore fans. Which begs the question, the fight date for Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford has not been announced yet. There is a major concert. If I'm correct, on Mexican Independence Day, the Allegiant Stadium is booked for Post Malone, guys. And I love Post Malone. He's not moving that date. But Post Malone and Jelly Roll are going to be performing at the Allegiant Stadium. So, the fight date hasn't been announced. It's obviously, they want to have it in Las Vegas. But I think that Canelo Alvarez, who has sold out a football stadium, Terrence Crawford, one of our generational great fighters of this era, they deserve to put on a show this big. Even if you had to sell $15 tickets. I was about to use the F word. Oh, even if you got to sell $15 nosebleeds, boxing deserves this. I would love to see the Allegiant Stadium full of 60,000 plus boxing fans. And it's not out of the question, guys, because this week, we are going to see 60,000 plus boxing fans in a stadium, not here, but in the UK, as Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks Jr., 2 sons of former UK stars, are going to finally go toe-to-toe in a very weird catch-weight fight, guys. 60,000 plus seats. I think they have sold 60,000 plus seats. We're going to see this many boxing fans Saturday. You guys must watch this fight. You're going to have to watch and tune into this fight any way you can. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubanks Jr. If you haven't heard the fight, now these guys are very far apart in weight, and typically in boxing history, it goes so bad for the guy jumping up in weight. 2 weight classes, just about. This fight is going to be taking place at 157. Conor Benn, a lifelong welterweight, has done some fights at 154, and he got Chris Eubanks, who's fought as high as 168, to come down to 157. And I'm hearing today that it's only an 8-pound rehydration limit. Chris Eubanks boy, he is going to be feeling that. 8 pounds is all he's going to be allowed to gain overnight when they weigh him on Friday. But there is, from what some type of exemption. You can come in overweight, but you're going to pay for it. And I don't know if I saw $1 million a pound. I will get that more accurate information later on this week. But for every pound that he gains the very next day, there is a huge penalty. I, for one, would pull the fucking Ryan Garcia, guys. And Ryan Garcia fight week for Cinco de Mayo is coming up in no time. Just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. I, for one, Chris Eubanks Jr., guys, I don't know how you guys feel. Tell me how you guys feel, but I would absolutely come in as heavy as I want and just pay the damn stipulation. Nando says WWE had to bring in their own video boards. How does Allegiant not have a big overhead scoreboard? Vegas cheaped out. Well, Nando, speaking of stadium woes and stadium issues, I was reading today that the Oakland Athletics owner, Fisher, now he's announced that they're going to be breaking ground on the Las Vegas Athletics Stadium in June. But apparently he still doesn't have the effing money to put up. He's going to get $380 million taxpayer dollars, Nevada residents, but he would have to sell $1 billion of Gap, Banana Republic, Gap, whatever they call that company is listed on the NASDAQ or whatever. He's going to have to sell $1 billion worth of shares to really start breaking ground. So it might just be a ceremonial breaking ground bullshit and rent a bunch of heavy excavation equipment because it don't look like he's got the money to put up. Last time anybody has put up that kind of money is the Dallas Cowboys owner. So it remains to be seen what's going on with that. Who knows? Who knows? But anyways, guys, tremendous weekend of some very good boxing matches, some that I really, really enjoyed. Also, I don't know if you guys are religious, but the WBC put this out. Yesterday was shocking. I woke up to find out on Easter Monday that the Pope had died. And I was raised Catholic. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I was a practicing Catholic. I did the communion, did all that. And at one point in my life, I can remember being a little kid and the Pope was coming to San Francisco, California to Candlestick Park. And my mom, who at the time, she was religious and all, but like, I'll be damned. Somebody's calling me. Somebody is calling me. Let's have him join the panel really quickly here. I'll get to this story really quick. We got a guest, guys. Who could it be? Who could it be now? You guys want to guess who's here? Who's in the house? I'll be damned. Drew Evo's in the house joining me today. There's a little bit of an echo, Drew.
Yeah, my air's on.
What's on?
It's like my air conditioning is almost 80 degrees here.
Nando, Drew, I was just saying, rest in peace to the Pope. I'm going to have a shot of tequila for the Pope. Because I could do that, because I work from home, guys. Here's my añejo. It is a lunchtime Taco Tuesday stream. We'll do a shot of tequila for the Pope. Drew, I actually got to see the Pope sometime, I don't know when, 90s. What the hell am I thought? 80s, 1980s. I was a little boy. The Pope came to Candlestick Park. We're talking about stadiums that are filled up. The Pope filled up the entirety of Candlestick Park, and you had to beg the archdiocese for a ticket. And my mom begged the archdiocese. I think I got in because I was an altar boy. And shout out to anybody that was an altar boy. And by the way, guys, I was a devious ass altar boy. I used to drink I drank all that wine. I think I was in 4th grade. I used to drink wine. They'd make me do the morning mass on rotation, and I would drink the wine. And I'm lucky, dude. I'm lucky that not one priest thought I was cute, Drew, because there's still a lot of that shit going on. I am very lucky. Speaking of, and this is completely off, Drew, did you hear what Kanye West put out yesterday?
I don't want to hear.
Oh, man, you don't. Did you all hear? Shout out to Wally Coyote. Hello, Linda Hernandez. This is off topic and has nothing to do with Christian Catholic values, Drew, but I'm just going to put this up here on the screen and you guys can do your own research. And as you can see way down at the very bottom, this tweet he sent out, It's absolutely disgusting. And it appears that Kanye West was admitting that he was a sexual groomer. And it's taking the internet by storm, Drew. It would explain a lot about his behavior if he was actually, abusing relatives as he claimed he did yesterday, sexually abusing his own relative. It's quite disturbing. Quite disturbing. Go out and look that up, dude. And here's Boozy. This guy Boozy on here, it said, damn, Kanye, I feel bad for this dude. This dude's been throwing some shit, brah. The rants make sense now. This man was sucking as a child, shaking my head. His mind is fucked up. Hate him having to go through this as a child. This man coming for anyone and everyone with a rapture. Yeah. That is gross. That is gross. It's disturbing. You guys can follow that on your own, Drew. I'm glad you're joining me for a Tuesday lunch edition. Do you have to go back to work or are you done?
I'm done, but I'm on my phone, so, I can get a call and I get an update.
It looks like I just lost you. I think I just lost Drew. Thank you to everybody joining us for a lunch taco stream. I'm sure Drew, he muted himself temporarily. Okay, Drew muted himself. Let's get on to some boxing talk. Some major fight announcements, Drew, and then I'll get quickly to the winners and losers of this weekend. The very first major announcement is the one on the thumbnail. And this is not shocking to me. It may be shocking to some. But Drew's calling me back, guys. The magic of technology. Drew, you back?
Yeah, I got a text. I had an appointment text message. I had to answer.
All right, well, here it is, Drew. This is riveting news. The big news is that Golden Boy Boxing is going to be working with Jake Paul, MVP Promotions, to host a super fight in Los Angeles this summer. It is official, Drew. This is fucking crazy. Let's quickly put up the records here. That's not the one I'm looking for. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr., 11-1 Jake Paul cruiserweight versus Chavez Jr. 54-6, who recently fought on Jake Paul's MVP card and barely came away with a win. He's had some seriously bad luck, losing to Anderson Silva at one point. Then he couldn't even beat a Mexican super middleweight. I mean, he lost that one. Every time he stepped up and fought a real boxer recently, he's lost, and even lost to an MMA. So you knew the writing was on the wall that he was going to get an opportunity at some point, offered an opportunity because of his resume, because he was the former middleweight champion that fought valiantly against Sergio Maravilla Martinez and then dropped Sergio Maravilla Martinez in the 12th round to almost come back and win the fight by KO. We knew the writing was on the wall this whole time. Is Drew Evil surprised?
No. What else is new? Like, Chavez continues to embarrass his dad. It's like you continues to fuck his dad's legacy up.
Thank you. He's talking about his legacy. We'll get to that. JC Chavez Jr. says, you don't play box. I am not some YouTuber or UFC fighter or beating up an old retired boxer. Old? He is almost 40. I am a real former boxing world champion. And July 28th, you will find out what it is like to be in with a real Mexican style Viva Mexico. That's a shot because of his dad. The great legacy that Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. left for Mexican boxing fans. And Drew, I asked in the thumbnail, I said, what will a JC Chavez Jr. loss to Jake Paul do to Mexican boxing? I'll ask you first. What is a loss like that do to Mexican boxing?
No, can't do no worse than when Tyson did. Like, tell you the truth, people expect him to lose to Jake Paul.
They expect him. Okay. I'll tell you what.
If anybody thinks Chavez Jr. is going to win this fight, I need you to go back and just don't even watch it. Don't even watch it. Don't even comment.
Imagine if, sorry, Drew, there's the graphic there. I'm laughing already. Imagine if Jake Paul hurts Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo couldn't do?
Can't say that because that was Chavez Jr. in somewhat of his prime and everything. He was best at middleweight.
Yeah, he was. He was a former world champion. Almost beat, but even though he got schooled for 11 rounds, almost beat Sergio Maravilla Martinez. And one of the best fights I've ever seen him do. He did beat Andy Lee. That was one of his greatest victories as a middleweight. But he was always a weight bully. Drew, I love your dog. By the way, guys, if you're a dog lover, I had some horrible, scary news yesterday. My 17-year-old dog looked to have a seizure or a stroke yesterday, Drew. And we've just been watching the hell out of her. I don't know. It was crazy. Does anyone here have a dog and who's had seizures or a stroke? My dog was just chilling, and then next thing you know, it looked like she was drunk, and she fell over and couldn't stand up. It was pretty scary. I'll let you guys know how she does going forward, but it's something I should expect because she's 17 years old, but definitely was pretty scary, Drew. So shout out to Drew's dog for joining the podcast. Drew, obviously, I don't know what Oscar De La Hoya. Well, obviously, I didn't get to the co-main, but the co-main is going to feature Zurdo Ramirez, cruiserweight champion, versus Dortico, right? And as the co-main, the writing is on the wall, and even boxing writers like Lucas Catella of BoxingScene.com said that he would not be surprised if someday the bullshit that boxing is, that Jake Paul would legitimately get a title opportunity, title fight. Why else is Zurdo Ramirez a true cruiserweight champion? Why else is he on the fucking card? Why else? It's like the writing is on the wall, guys, that if this fight generates tremendous money, he could be looking at an opportunity to fight Zurdo Ramirez for the cruiserweight title, which is insane. It's insane. Yeah, anyways, Drew, I started the show off talking about spending a lot of money on WrestleMania. I hope you enjoyed WrestleMania. And I think you and I met somewhere around 2017, guys. I met Drew, I think around 2017, and we started doing the Shoeshine weekly. I think somewhere around 2018, we got a deep catalog. We did it on another platform. We also did it in podcast form. But Drew, do you remember when I told you when I went to that Chavez Jr. fight in MGM Grand? You remember way back then? Remember, well, guys, I'm going to get the pictures out, but I sat next to the family of Fernando Ferroz Vargas, and I still have a picture somewhere with me and Emiliano Vargas, top-ranked star Emiliano Vargas, who now has his face plastered on the billboard of Resorts World International on the Las Vegas Strip. He was like 12 years old, and I was sitting next to him for that fight. That's how good of tickets I bought because I hated Canelo. I was a straight Canelo hater. Remember that? Remember those days?
Yeah.
Drew and I were both Canelo haters. Somewhere around 2017. I paid $5,000. I had the stupid fucking Mexicano headband, the Chavez Jr. one, like a buffoon. I thought, oh my God, he's gonna give Canelo a beating. Boy, was that a fucking epic fail. That was 12 rounds of what? 12 rounds of fucking, looked like a punching bag. Excuse me for the belching. Shout out to F Donuts, everyone. He says Jake Paul's a fraud. Drop F Donuts link in the chat. We're trying to help his channel up. F Donuts, that sleep stream last night, people telling me it was wild. I don't want anybody to think I was trying to capitalize on what you're doing to grow your channel because you're doing a fantastic job. It was actually satire. I'm actually making fun of another YouTuber that has been sleeping. That's part of his daily routine now, to sleep on his channel. And I happen to get banned. I happen to get blocked from Drew. I got blocked from that channel. So because I got blocked, I thought it was time for a little retribution. A little fun. Have a little fun.
You know what happened, guys? Dave's in the doghouse, and he had to be on the sofa last night. Like,
it's true. That's probably the truth. Yeah. If Donut says Jake Paul's a fraud. Anyways, guys, I paid about $5,000 on that vacation. I did not live. I paid for excellent fucking seats to watch that Chavez Jr. fight against Canelo. I had a very nice suite. I indulged in gambling. And at the end of the day, I came home. I'm like, damn, my wife and I blew through $5,000 to watch Canelo beat the shit out of Chavez Jr. I'm going to be real with you guys. As a Mexicano, I'm going to be real. What's going to happen when Jake Paul potentially knocks out Chavez Jr.? If Chavez Jr. is taking a dive, which is not unheard of. You know, just a few weeks ago, I did a lunch stream where I talked about that fighter, Paul Bamba, who passed away after having 14 fights in 1 year. And the story, which was, I think, featured on a British publication, said that, you know, it was very obvious he was paying his opponents to take a dive in some of those 14 fights. Taking a dive is not unheard of in the sport of boxing, especially, and I'm not saying Jake Paul is paid, but it's not unheard of in this sport. You know what I'm saying? It's not. If he gets knocked out, if he loses on the scorecard, will Mexican boxing be damaged forever, Drew? You know what? I'm going to say it right now. It's not going to hurt Mexican boxing one bit, because we're all going to do exactly what his daddy has been doing for the past 10 years and simply say he's not ours. He ain't ours. He's not one of us. And then we'll move on and we'll all go crazy for the Canelo versus Terrence Bud Crawford super fight. Anyways, let me quickly get that picture up. Let me see what is on here. It's I mentioned this is their record. The card is being discussed, Drew, and I had an interaction with Lucas Badi's brother, and I'm trying to help promote this buzz. But you guys remember Floyd Schofield was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson, and magically, somehow, or bad luck, Floyd Schofield went to Saudi Arabia, and we are very friendly with his mom. Shout out to Fonzie. Fozzie's very, very friendly with Floyd Schofield's mom, not the daddy, but the mom. And Lucas Badi is a great friend of the show. We've had him on here when he was just a prospect in Canada during COVID, and I still keep in touch with his manager, his management team. And he's signed by MVP. And Floyd Schofield is signed by Golden Boy, and he's looking to bounce back after the embarrassment of not being able to fulfill his duties in the fight against Shakur Stevenson. And both of these young men are ranked very high in the 135-pound division. So I'm going to say this right now. Oscar, ¿qué pasó? Make this fight happen. This is a great opportunity for Floyd Schofield to beat a power puncher, a heavy-handed power puncher. And quite honestly, if this heavy-handed power puncher, Lucas Badi, who's undefeated, stops or knocks out Floyd, well, then you've done yourself a favor. You know that Floyd ain't the prospect / contender he is, and you can remove him from your payroll. This is a great fucking fight, guys. This is stylistically a great fight. Put it on the undercard of the Jake Paul Chavez Jr. fight. Make this one happen. Fonzie, hit up Floyd's mom. Tell her this is a good fight. Drew, what do you think of that fight? It's a great opportunity for Lucas Badi and Floyd Schofield on a major card that a lot of people are going to be watching.
Big opportunity. Do I think he wins? No.
Okay. Well, yeah, you know, it's a good fight for period. Whoever wins, I'm not rooting for anybody. I would love to see this fight on the card. All right, guys. That is the big fight announcement, but there's another one, Drew. There's another one that got announced. Yeah. Well, speaking of Shakur Stevenson versus Mexico's William Zepeda is now official for July. It is going to be a massive card. And looking at this card, guys, I'm extremely excited. This was the MVP card. Paul versus Chavez Jr., Ramirez versus Dorticos, and the rest of the undercard is yet to be, put together. But this next card, Shakur Stevenson, they had 30-day window. I talked about this recently. They only had 30 days to negotiate, and they got it done. Now, Eddie Hearn is supposedly the promoter for Shakur Stevenson after leaving Top Rank. Drew, what the fuck happened to that? What is going on? Because I'm hearing that the good old Italian homeboy is now going to be representing Shakur Stevenson. That means Eddie Hearn is no longer its promoter. Eddie Hearn came out yesterday and was like, hold up, that's bullshit. I don't know what's going on. Who is Shakur Stevenson's promoter?
I don't know. I think Shakur's he is the product of his own demise. So, from what I'm getting, the Eddie Hearn matchroom thing was only a one-fight deal, and they're gonna do a fight by fight basis, and Shakur didn't want to go back on another contract because I'm guessing him and Turkey, because he was working with Turkey, and Turkey, I guess he still has some type of beef with Turkey still. So what you do, you go to the guy that really doesn't have anybody on it big on his stable anymore, and Lou DiBella, and do what you got, and have an advantage. And like he's only going to be for the fight to see as a trial basis probably, but I don't know. I think Shakur is the product of his own downfall when it comes to business wise. He's burned his bridges with promoters, and it's just eventually nobody's going to want to work with him.
Yeah, shout out to one of our regulars in the chat. Wiley Coyote yesterday said, "What the bro? You're sleeping on the couch. This is like watching a Shakur Stevenson fight." That was hella funny. Shakur Stevenson is not the main event. This is a main event. Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Stylistically, guys, Shakur Stevenson, the best, one of the best, hands down. Him and Dimitri Bivol are the best defensive fighters in all of boxing today. And William Zepeda is one of the most exciting, electric offensive fighters. He throws 90 plus punches per round. I challenge you, if you've never boxed, to time yourself and see how many punches you could throw in 3 minutes. 90 plus punches stylistically, and yet it's not the main event. Let's talk about the main event, Drew. This is a Turkey thing. Turkey's kid, Hamza Shiraz, who recently lost at 160, is going to be facing the toughest fight of his career against Edgar Berlanga in New York City this summer, July, at the top of the card. Drew, is Edgar Berlanga ready for Hamza Shiraz? Is Hamza Shiraz ready for the 168-pound division? Finally, this is a great fucking fight. I don't even know who I think is going to win this fight. On the strength that Edgar Berlanga can crack, on the fact that Hamza Shiraz struggled so bad against Carlos Adames. What do you think of this main event?
I think they don't trust Shakur as a headliner because of his past couple of hometown shows. People left halfway during the fight because they were so bored of him. But I don't think this is his toughest opponent. Shiraz is his like Edgar Berlanga is the toughest opponent. I think Adonis was, and I think he stops Edgar Berlanga. I think you're going to finally see that Edgar Berlanga is just not that good. And I think he's trying to put him in there. I think he's trying to put Shiraz in there to knock him out so he can get Shiraz to fight Canelo one day. But as one of the fights under his contract with Turkey. But I think when it comes to Shakur's case, I think Shakur is going to have to realize sooner or later you need to know your worth, and you need to know your place. And until you know your place, you are the B side of mostly everybody. The only way you ever main event another fight if you are fighting Tank or Lomachenko in 135. And you are a B-side to both of them. Like, you're not a draw. Shakur Stevenson is not a draw whatsoever. Like,
yeah, I'll agree with I will agree with that, Drew. Man, Shakur Stevenson, he's going to just have to swallow it. He was, I like you said, he agreed to a price with Turki Al-Sheikh, and he is going to be the co-main event. And going back to all those performances on ESPN, when Shakur was with Top Rank on ESPN, everybody seemed to have a problem with the type of fights, including Lou DiBella, who Lou DiBella is reportedly going to be taking on the job as his new promoter, Drew. Well, somebody dug up a Lou DiBella tweet from about a year ago when Shakur was on ESPN and said, I'd rather, I don't know what it said, but it's something to the fact that he went to bed. He's going to be representing Shakur. And even he said Shakur put him to sleep. And that's why he's going to be the co-main event. But honestly, guys, that is going to be a fantastic card. It's also going to feature Subriel Matias versus Alberto Puello, 140-pound champion versus the former 140-pound champion, Puerto Rican star in Subriel Matias. And I believe, if I'm not correct, it might be around Puerto Rican Day Parade, which is a big deal. It looks like it's going to be a great card. One that I'm excited to see how it's going to play out, Drew. Hamza Shiros trains here in the U.S. I believe he trains with Rudy Hernandez, which are our Chicano Mexican-American trainers, Drew. The more time he spends in the U.S. sparring and whatnot, the better I think it's going to be for him. He does have the height and reach advantage. I'm looking forward to the two very exciting fights announced. Thank you to everybody joining us. Don't forget to hit that like. I appreciate you, even if you know boxing ain't your thing. Are you guys excited for Finney's show tonight? I can't keep up with all the drama on the YouTube streets, but I always enjoy watching Finney to keep afloat. And maybe somebody here in the chat can submit my sleep video to the archives, and maybe they will feature me sleeping. And maybe they can make a montage of me and all the great other streamers who have fallen asleep on camera. The list is so long, I don't even know where to start with streamers who, you got a problem, Drew, when you're sleeping on camera. You might have a problem. It might be time to turn off the YouTube if you're sleeping on stream. And I may have gotten there. I may be there. Drew, let's talk about the winners and losers this weekend. Did you watch any of that WBC Grand Prix on YouTube? Grand Prix tournament? I love a good tournament. None of it? Well, I saw the heavyweight. I saw some of the middleweights, and I saw some of the heavyweight action. WBC Grand Prix in Riyadh, and there was some interesting people on the heavyweight. I'll be honest. There was a Mexican guy from TJ that had 3 pro fights, and I think they said he never weighed more than 201 pounds. And obviously, that dude got knocked out. There were some interesting guys. There was an Argentinian guy that I tweeted. The fight lasted 22 seconds, I think. And in 22 seconds, this Argentinian guy looked like a cruiserweight. He was very built, very explosive, very small. Knocked out a guy named Baby Drago, a Russian fighter, I believe an Eastern European fighter. The Argentinian guy could not have been more than 200 pounds, Drew, fighting at heavyweight. And knocked the most impressive knockout of the whole thing. Knocks out a guy in 22 seconds. Busted his face and liver up. Some exciting stuff to watch if you like it. That's available on YouTube, guys. I heard the featherweight tournament was off the chain, and they fought for 6 rounds, and they're coming back next month for the next round. So I thought it was like a really rapid tournament, but no, they're going to get a whole month, and we'll see them again in the next round, man. I'm excited about that WBC tournament. Winners and losers. Let's get to America fights first, Drew. Gabriela Fundora at 112 is unstoppable. And Charles Conwell, unfortunately, the problem Conwell has taken a huge hit in his career. At one point, I thought Charles Conwell was the dark horse that nobody wanted to fight at 154. And he got outboxed, outworked by a Mexican fighter from Sinaloa. That's why I had a shot earlier. Congratulations to El Chino Garcia Perez, who defeated literally, I think, ranked number 1 or ranked number 2 contender, Charles Conwell of Golden Boy. Chino had more than 4 losses on his record. This dude is, I was talking with Sonteo Media. Shout out to Sonteo, wherever you are. He's beaten 6 undefeated fighters, and he did it on the biggest stage possible. Golden Boy, all the way from Sinaloa, Mexico. Sinaloa defeats Charles Conwell, the Olympian. I didn't see this coming, Drew. I didn't see this coming at all. And this is going to shake up the entire 154-pound division. He put that fucking division on notice. I mean, this guy's going to get a crack potentially at fighters like Xander Zayas, even Fundora. can elect to fight him. Fundora could just say, you know what, Xander Zayas, I don't like that style. I don't want to do that fight. I don't want to work with another. I'll work with this dude. PBC will say, I'm going to work with this dude. Let's pick this guy to fight. And he's tall. He's rangy. I think it'd be an interesting fight. Comes out of nowhere. Are you surprised by this upset win that Charles Conwell?
Not really. No. The way he fights, I think he was bound to lose. And, I think he was going to be like a top-weight challenger. But, I thought his style was something that he could eventually lose with. And he did. But, I'm gonna look at it like this. On the Fundora, Gabriela Fundora.
Yeah.
I think she's kind of a weight bully. Being
okay.
a weight bully.
Is Fonzie still on here? Wiley Coyote wants to know if we are just on daytime. You know what, Wiley, Drew and I had a scheduling issue last night, and so I decided, I didn't want to go live last night. There's a lot of competition among streamers on Monday nights, and to be honest, the numbers have been declining pretty bad on Monday night here, and I'm trying to figure out what I could do to the formula to make it more successful. And when Drew said he had a schedule issue, we're like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna go live Tuesday. I'm glad Drew's done with work today, and we could just do it together right now. But Monday night should be our normal day, and Wednesday or Thursday nights too. We want to get at least 2 weekly nighttime shows. Gabriela Fundora, a weight bully. Gabriela Fundora, Drew, I met her last March 2024. A very kind and interesting person. My wife mentioned, she's like, you know what? Gabriela and her brother, Sebastian, world champions, they're both very similar personalities. They did grow up in a very remote area of the Coachella Valley in California, which is like a desert in California, Drew. And I wonder if that had something to do with it. Like, you know what I mean? You go to a small school, a small community, they have a beautiful gym in the wood. It looks like a wooden area of Coachella Valley. They're quirky, they're fun, they're extremely polite. I love both of them. I like them both, Drew. There's no girl at 112 that Gabriela is not going to knock out. I mean, if you want a knockout artist, you watch her at 112. And quite honestly, at 115, which I think she should move up to 115 immediately. She is undisputed. I don't know if there's any real challenges. I personally think she could jump right up to 118 and headline and potentially fight Christine Lopez. Christine Lopez on YouTube. Shout out to her. Ladies Night on Wednesday, Olympic boxing coach. She has that fighter, Slim Goody, who just won that 118-pound championship. I think Gabriela, and she just got a promotional deal with Jake Paul on MVP. I think Gabriela could run right up to 118 and start to smoke some of those women at 118. She's got the height, the reach, and she gets a good strength trainer. I don't think there's anybody that's stopping Gabriela Fundora at 112 pounds. I don't think she's even got to worry about 115 either. I think the real challenges begin at 118. And what's the limit, Drew? How high can Gabriela go? She's what, 5'9", 112 pounds. Wrap your mind around that. How high can she go?
I think she needs to go fight Serrano, the Katie Taylors, the Bumgarners.
Those girls are much bigger.
They're the same height as her. I think that's why I think she needs to be up at that level. Yeah,
well, you know what? She probably could at some day fight that, but a good example of that is Michaela Meyer, who jumped up from when she fought at 130 to 147, 17 pounds, and now a champion at 147 pounds. It could be done. It could be done. She's got the height, but safely, I would say start at like 118 and then feel it out and see what other stars there are. But she could be the next Amanda Serrano. She really could be the next great American female champion like Amanda Serrano, who is going to be fighting on Netflix, which is wild. All women's fights on Netflix, which is really interesting. Drew, the UFC Dana White was booed at WrestleMania, and he's currently in negotiation with Netflix. Netflix does not want to comment on the UFC deal. They say that Dana White wants $1 billion to bring the UFC to Netflix. Crazy. Is it worth it?
Well, Colby Covington, he also got booed too. So
He did?
yeah, he got booed.
That's wild. That is wild. Thank you to everybody joining us in the chat. Appreciate you guys. If you're new, welcome. There's a guy, what is it? Is his name Dalton Smith, the UK fighter? 140-pound contender. I just wanted to see big win. We go through winners and losers. Is it I always get his name wrong. Dante? Is it Dante? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think it's Dante. But I don't know. I look at it like this. Is the UFC worth $1 billion? No. To have on their thing, because like you know, let's look at the numbers. I think they're declining in pay-per-view numbers.
They actually are, which is why it makes a great argument that UFC should be on a network like Amazon Prime or Netflix, which you could just watch the UFC for your bundled price, whatever you are. And Netflix, guys, I know the stock market is in the tank, but Netflix did incredible numbers last quarter. Netflix is doing fantastic. Netflix could afford the UFC. They could bring them on board. They could bring on boxing. They could afford it. And I think it might be worth $1 billion. It might be because they got F around money at this point. Netflix is doing extremely well, guys. Anyways, I wanted to bring up quickly those British fighters, Drew. I did watch that main event. He could not get a Canadian. Is Dante Smith? Why? I don't want to offend everybody. Why I can't remember his name. But he's a serious, to me, he's a future star of British boxing. At 140 pounds, there's been a lot of people that have fought and to me, Drew, I was watching him. He could not get that guy out, this Canadian fighter. But to be honest, he is so explosive, hits so hard, and hits so quick that I honestly think he's going to be trouble for anybody, including all the people that are going to be fighting on this card May 2nd, Friday. I'm talking about Rolando Romero versus Ryan Garcia, who's now officially unbanned from the sport of boxing. His suspension is now over. You got Teofimo Lopez, world champion, lineal junior welterweight champ on the card. And this Dante Smith, well, I can't forget his name right, Smith, he impressed me that much, even though he could not blast out that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy had extremely good work, Drew. I think this guy would give everybody that fights at 140 pounds on this card problems. If you guys are interested about the big Cinco de Mayo weekend, these are the prices for the event. Drew, $90. Pick one or go all in for $90 pay-per-view. That breaks down to $45 a fight. Friday night on the East Coast, 3 o'clock on the West Coast. You have an incredible card that you cannot go watch in person. You cannot pay to go see this fight. This fight is going to be private in Times Square, only for invited people of Turkey Al Sheikh. 300 plus people will get the special invite, but you and I could watch it for $90. You could buy one. I don't know what the buy one price is. And if you just pay the $90, you get to watch both of these cards back to back. Fire stick or
the Stream East boys.
Fire stick or pay the $90. Oh man, a lot of football news. I see a lot of shout out to my Samoan OG's got a lot of football talk. For me as a 49er fan, Drew, our quarterback showed up to the non-mandatory pre-workout thing, which is a good sign because our quarterback has not officially signed an extension contract with the 49ers. Neither has Purdy. Purdy has not signed his contract. Neither has Kittle. And by the way, Drew, did Kittle get booed? Because Kittle is a huge WrestleMania guy. He's a huge WWE guy. In fact, Kittle, they say that his contract extension, they're very far apart, and that's got me nervous. He did not show up to camp today in Santa Clara, California. And Kittle has expressed that the minute his NFL career is over, Drew, he wants to negotiate and join the WWE. He is fucking serious. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in all of football, wants to wrestle in the WWE. And I guess the people like him a lot. I'm excited about that. Anyways, Appreciate you all 20 people in here. I am supposed to be going back to work pretty soon. I work from home, but I only got an hour. Here it is, Drew. This weekend, really quick, I want to do another show on it, but today was the grand arrivals for Conor Benn versus Chris Eubanks Jr., and I wanted to get your thoughts. Conor Benn, once suspended for well over a year, came to the U.S., fought at 154 to see how his body would react. You know, he was banned for enclomiphene citrate, which is a PED that raises your testosterone levels. He faced a 2-year suspension in the UK. Now it's done. Do they sell more tickets than the WrestleMania, Drew? I'm hearing there's 60,000 plus seats are already sold for this UK fight Saturday.
No. Here's the thing. I think this fight's a joke. I think Chris Eubanks Jr. just needs to retire after this fight because you could have fought for a title. You could have fought somebody at your own weight class. Potentially get yourself a Canelo fight eventually. But no, you want to fight Conor Benn. Somebody from 147. Because your weight, you were trying to be a bully. That's what you're trying to do. And everything. And then you got the drug cheat Conor Benn and everything. Dude's a drug cheat. And like I don't like and everything. I think it's just gonna one of these two will get I think Eubanks gonna win the fight, but he doesn't get no credit for it.
Well, I got a serious question for you. When your wife tells you that she thinks one of the fighters is cute, all right, for all the married men, I got this one for Drew too, and the ladies. Now, she said Conor Benn is cute. Now, does that automatically mean I should be rooting for Chris Eubank to knock him out?
Man, I think you shouldn't have to worry about it, Dave, because that's an ugly motherfucker.
Because once upon a time, my wife said that, she had the hots for Jimmy Garofalo, which, at every party I've been to that has 49er fans, you bring up Jimmy G and the wives go crazy. And I had a hard time not rooting for Jimmy G because I am a 49er loyal fan. At a hard time. But in this weekend, guys, I might be rooting for Chris Eubanks Jr. to knock out Conor Benn. Here's the deal, Drew. It is at a catch weight 157 pounds. Not the full middleweight limit. Once upon a time, two British guys made the huge jump from welterweight. His name was Amir Khan. It was a huge fight, biggest payday of his life to fight Canelo Alvarez. Jumped up 2 weight divisions. And a few rounds later, Canelo Alvarez knocked him out into oblivion. Then there was the time that Gennady Golovkin took out 147-pound British welterweight champion of the world. Remember him? He just had a baby, right, with Ebony Bridges?
Yeah, Cal Brook.
Cal Brook jumped up to 160 and got his eye socket smashed. Does Conor Benn get smashed by Chris Eubanks at 157 with a rehydration limit? 7 pounds is all Chris Eubanks can regain in water the following day. This smells like disaster for Chris Eubanks. However, there is a clause, and it looks like it's $1 million. $1 million. Shout out to 92 Aku Caballero. Haven't seen you in a minute. Appreciate you, brother, for being in here. This is a super UK fight. One that I don't know how many American people are going to be interested in, but I know American boxing fans. We're going to be watching this fight, Drew. The rehydration limit. Put yourself in Chris Eubanks' shoes. $1 million per pound. I don't know if that's the figure. I don't give a. I'm coming in as heavy as I want. What about you?
I would too. Like, it depends how much he's making in the fight. He's making $10 million in everything. Fuck it, I'll sacrifice $3 million just to prove a point. But I tell you the truth, it makes him look bad. It's a lose-lose situation, and he's already been knocked out by a welterweight by Liam Smith. He's already been stopped by one. And everything. It's just, if he loses this, he's done.
Yeah, he is in his late 30s, that's for sure. He's in his late 30s, guys. I'm going to be excited to watch the weigh-ins. Obviously, the press conferences coming up. It's only Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday to everybody. I'll see you guys later in the chats, probably on Finney's shows later tonight. Somebody send that video of me sleeping to Finney. Maybe he could put me side by side with Graphic One and all the other YouTube streamers that have fallen asleep on camera. Oh, shit.
I don't think you want to. Like,
I'm
everybody's
joking.
gonna think I'm not. I can't say a joke. Because they're gonna say, "Who the fuck is he to talk about me?"
Yeah, I'm joking, guys. We will be doing another stream. Hopefully, Drew, you can make that one Wednesday or Thursday night. Make sure you're subscribed and you got the bell notifications. It'll be an evening stream. We'll run through this fight coming up this weekend and all the big fights coming up. It's been a great Taco Tuesday. I appreciate you guys for coming at lunch. Drew, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And likewise to the audience. Drew, anything you want to say?
Fuck J. Paul.
Oh, shit. David the 702, Philly Irish Drew Evo. Thank you so much, everybody that joined us. We will be back later this week. Until then, peace out, everybody.